All right. Hello, 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 everybody. How
Hey,
are you all?
hey.
I hope you guys like the tunes. I really try.
I like it. I like it.
Thank you. I really thought about that. I was like, let me see what would set the mood, set the tone. Because what we like to do in all of our different home buyer seminars is that we really like for it to be conversational. We want you guys to feel like you are talking to a family member because that is how we will get on the phone with you and really give you either a good conversation or the hard truth, one of the two, or it might be both at the same time. Okay. So, if you have any questions, feel free to jot them down. We'll get to the Q&A section. We have a couple of friends on the call that will come on and explain how they can assist you with your journey. And so let's see, let me make sure. Okay, we are recording. Let me start sharing. And then we could get this show on the road so that we could be respectful of everyone's time. All right. All right. Let's see. All right. So, um, we have titled this "Stay Ready So You Don't Have to Get Ready." So I know a lot of people is doing a lot of New Year, New Me sort of different activities geared towards you guys, but we really wanted to say, hey, how can you steward what you already have? So that you can get more of what you are due, more of what you want. But the thing is, you cannot do that until you take and get a strong foothold of what you already have. So you'll be learning a couple of things on this call. And we were very strategic of who we placed in front of you instead of all of the frills and thrills. We wanted to make sure it was people that you could learn something from. Okay, not just somebody who would you would get on a call and they would charge you, and then at the end of it you still didn't know anything more than what you knew before. But we really wanted um people who have integrity, people who could actually teach you some things. So we're going to be teaching you guys how to position yourself for long-term success. We're going to talk about that home buyer journey, including some down payment assistance. I have my preferred lenders on the call, Inspire Mortgage. Um, we're also going to have our attorney on the call. She is going to talk about how you can secure your future with estate planning and some other things. We have our tax pro on the call, Miss Renee Cross. I need to see her before them three-letter folk come knocking on my door. And then we also have my preferred insurance agent on the call. And then also, I believe one more person is going to hop on as well. But if not, we have enough folks in the room to do what we need to do, okay? So, let's see.
I'm getting messages. Somebody's having issues logging in.
Yeah, one second. Let me send you the link and then I'll keep going. They're texting you personally,
Yes.
Huma? Okay,
Yep.
okay. Sending it to you now.
It's saying she needs a code.
Okay.
Is there a code, a meeting ID? Is she in the right spot?
I just texted it to you. She if so. But um okay, we'll keep going. We'll keep going. We'll let some of the admin folks on the call handle that so that we could keep going. All right. So, as I mentioned, new year, new me. I would like to get a couple of you guys talking because it's already hard enough to do a webinar, but to do it talking to a screen is a whole nother ordeal. But I want to hear what goals do you guys have in the new year? And it does not have to be just real estate related. It could be personal, professional, spiritually. Just throw out some goals you have for yourself. What's some of those?
I'm buying my second house in Texas is my goal.
Ooh,
So I can be
Okay.
a snow
come
bunny
on.
because I'm over Chicago.
Miss-
Look at that, because we're definitely
Yes.
licensed in Texas, Miss Sanders.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That is my
See?
goal.
You heard what I said, Miss
Okay, well, you
Sanders?
heard me
Yes, I
too.
did. Yes, I
Okay.
did.
All
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
Well, yes, you guys are gonna have to connect after this. Make sure they are licensed in Texas. Who else? It's my 30th birthday year, so I have a laundry list of things.
Happy
So
birthday,
Happy
dear.
listen,
birthday.
30. Oh my
thank
God.
you.
Okay.
Who
Hi.
else? Who else has some things prepping for?
Hi.
Miss Sanders is like, ooh, that was such a good age, huh?
Oh, baby.
You
It
and me
sounded
both,
like
honey. You
someone
and
was
me
trying to
both.
let us know. Was that Miss Katonia?
Yeah, it sure was. You know, I'm not very savvy as you young people on this computer. This virtual stuff is new to me. But one of my, I'm hoping that I want to achieve is just buy a small, in Chicago somewhere on the south side, plot of land in maybe in a not a building. I was once a landlord many years ago. I'm in my 60s now. I'm not trying to do that. I just want to buy a little small plot of land. You know, they got all this vacant land in our community, you know, maybe on Halsted or somewhere in Inglewood or 79th Street. I don't even know how to go about that, but I'm interested in knowing what those steps are.
Right. Okay. Well, yes, we can absolutely talk about that. Do we have one or two more and we'll keep going? If not, all right. All right. So, I just wanted to get you guys talking because once you say something out loud, it becomes real. And you cannot, if you can't see it for yourself, then it can never come into fruition. And so that's what today's call is all about, getting into that right mindset paired with the right instruction so that it can become real and not you panicking feeling like you're running out of time. And I feel like this call was really or really the title was really talking to me as well, that idea of feeling like I'm running out of time, being at like a milestone year for myself and saying, okay, hey, I'm not where I want to be, but what else has God already blessed me with that I could be doing more with if I just steward it over it properly, right? And so even the Bible says, be ye also ready. That's a multitude of things. That's you preparing in this season. And being a good steward means you are managing what you have been entrusted with, right? Because the thing is that what you have is really for someone else if you really think about it. So I just have a couple of other things. Be faithful over a few things and he'll make you ruler over many. To whom much is given, much is required. So the thing is that what is it that is required of you so that you can get to the next level? Okay. All right. So, I want to talk to you guys about what is a good steward before we have some of my folks hop on this call. What is a good steward? It's somebody that takes responsibility before the opportunity arrives. So the thing is, you may, for instance, I like to use myself as an example so that it can make it real for you. This home that I'm in, I could say, hey, this is not the home that I want to be my forever home, and I could let it fall to pieces, or I could do what I need to do, make sure it's a well kept home, and then holler at my girl Homa and pull some money, pull some equity out of this property, right? That's an example of being a good steward of what you have before the opportunity comes. You plan before you panic. You are proactive versus reactive. And you're understanding that um it's purposeful. It's not just you getting more things, you getting more money. Because I assure you, um, no one on this call is money hungry. Half the calls we take do not even lead to a sale. But it's the idea that we want to make sure we are speaking to people, giving them the proper steps, and then what's for us is for us, right? So and you take that same idea with you. We're not just trying this get rich quick scheme. We want you to make decisive and deliberate choices so that you can be consistent to get to your next phase. We also want you to think generationally, right? How does this affect your future? I'll show you guys at the end someone that whom and I just closed, and not just one family was affected, but two families was affected by this one sale. One family went into retirement, and one family started their journey into generational wealth, right? And then aligning faith with action. We've heard it before. Faith without works is dead. And so you have to know who to speak to, and it, and not just I use this phrase often. Don't
Insurance,
drop a dollar trying to pick up a dime.
living
Okay.
trust, online,
Um,
any
hold on one second.
legal.
Let me mute.
You're interested in some sort of property. This won't move on.
Okay. There we go. I've used this phrase before. Don't drop a dollar trying to pick up a dime. And what do I mean by that? You have been bombarded with a lot of people to speak to you and talk to you, and a lot of people is calling you. But the thing is that do that person have the right integrity, and do they communicate how you need them to communicate so that you can be able to complete the goal that you have? And so aligning faith with action, because also lastly, if you cannot see it, as I mentioned, you cannot do it. Okay. So let me get into some of the folks that's on the call. For myself, um, my name is Pamela Mundane. For anybody that do not know me, if you were acquainted or found out about this call through one of my other partners on the call, my name is Pam Mundane. I'm a real estate agent. I've been licensed. I say that I'm a COVID baby. Uh, but I have a background in corporate finance, and that's how I got into this work. Basically, I decided for myself that it was time to really take the skills that I have and help people, because that's really what I feel like my purpose in this life is. And I told the team this earlier. When you follow purpose, everything else will follow. When you follow purpose, money and everything else will follow. So for me, my purpose is to help individuals. And so that's me. You can follow me on all platforms at Mundane Living. How do I help you? I am the real estate agent. I am the person that helps connect you to the proper people, hence this call today, right? And also, I make sure that the people that you hired, including myself, I have some checks and balances myself. I make sure that the people you hired do their job. I make sure the lender does their job. I make sure the attorney do their job. We all talk together and make sure we are one big team, and that is what my true job is, as well as holding your hand through the entire process. That's how I feel I help you. Now, how do I help you stay ready? Where I feel all of you should start is right here on this call, where you are learning and forming the right type of team that you want to have around you. Okay. And then how do I help you through that home ownership journey? How do I help you? I pair you with whoever you are missing. So if you do not have a lender, I have a lender. She's on this call. If you do not have a tax pro, I have a tax professional. She's on this call. If you do not have an attorney, I have an attorney. She's on this call. If you do not have an insurance agent, he's on the call. If you don't have someone to help walk you through this journey and you're frazzling out, saying, hey, how do I keep myself safe in this experience, in this new home, in this new vessel? I also have someone for you in that regard. So that's a little tidbit about me. I'm going to jump to my friends over at Inspire Mortgage.
I'll go first. Good evening, everybody. Y'all can see I'm a Yankees fan. I'm also very sick. I've been sick since like Monday, so bear with me. I'm not my cheery self. But thanks for jumping on. My name is Huma Hussein. I am a mortgage broker. I'm licensed in Indiana, Illinois. I'm getting to Texas. My company is already licensed in Texas. So again, Miss Sanders, we can do Texas loans. That's who we are. We're a mortgage company. We are a Black-owned mortgage company. We've been around a few years. The owner, he's been around for 20 years. Myself, I've been originating since 2017. Started off at a bank. You know, I moved on to this mortgage broker side, if you will, because it's the best. I'm gonna tell you that I love it because I have more options for you guys. We shop with probably about, I think we have about 8 to 10 different lenders that we could shop with. Who has the best program? Who has the best interest rate? Who has the best whatever for, you know, my client? So that's who we are. Rudy is, she's my assistant. She could say a little something after me, but she is a licensed mortgage broker also. So she does have her license and she's in training. And I'm gonna tell y'all better watch out because she's gonna be good. And she's being trained by, I ain't gonna tap my back, but a little bit, she is being trained by the best. So my whole thing with this, with everything, I'm here to give you options, right? And I'm here to help you make the best decision, not just for now, but for the future going on. That's pretty much why we had this type of meeting set up. We didn't just want to talk about home buying and Pam just didn't want to talk about selling. We wanted to give you guys these tools. That's why we have Brooks on here. That's why we have Cross on here, right? It's for your future, not just now. Planning, estate planning. You know, we're going to touch on all of that. I'm going to touch a little bit on down payment assistance, not a whole lot, because there's a lot of programs out here. Everybody always asks. I could do a lot of them. What I have here that I have a hold to all the time is 100% finance and FHA. Y'all president is taking a lot of these programs away. So my conventional, I'm just be honest with you, my conventional grants and things like that have went bye-bye. But there are other assistants out there. And again, normally I can, you know, take care of all of them. Normally I could pair something with another one. But right now I'm 100% financing, which what that means is you're basically the down payment assistance, that's what it's called. They're covering your 3.5% down payment, which for FHA, that's the minimum down payment, you know, that you could come to the table with. So they're covering that. There are certain terms, recapture years, I should say, where they might want you to hold that loan for 3 years or maybe 5 years. There's even one for 10 years, right? Before the loan is fully forgiven. So when you're dealing with down payment assistance, those are assistance. To me, it's more like a loan. You have to finish out the loan. You have to stay with that loan, meaning you cannot refinance. If you sell the property, you're going to owe them something, right? Difference with grants forgiven at the table. So there are things out there that, you know, I can try to help you with. If you tell me what it is, I'll do the research. I don't really have like a list because again, it goes by city, county, some even go by like block for block, right? Where you could really, you know, use that assistance program. So I just wanted to touch on that just a little bit. And again, I'm here really for Q&As. If you guys have any questions about the home buying process, if you have any questions about anything, that's why we're here today. It's not really salesy. We're not trying to sell or anything like that. It's more information, getting information out there for now and then your future. Not just getting ready now, but staying ready for your future. What's best for your family. And that's what makes me the best. I'm pat myself on the back again because my background. Again, I've been originating since 2017. I've been in real estate for 20 years. I've owned property, landlord, still a landlord now. I've fixed property and sold property. That's been a long time ago. But I'm here to assist you, right? I'm not just reading from a book. I'm giving you my experience. So that's what makes me, again, I'm gonna stop patting my back. Rudy, I don't know if you wanted to say a little something.
Yes. Hey guys, I'm Rudy. I'm a mortgage broker. Kind of like Huma said, I'm her assistant, but I do have a background in accounting and finance. I've been in finance for a very long time. And I would just tell y'all a little bit how I got into the industry. I would say over these last couple of years, I was having issues with my 9 to 5 corporate job. And the only thing that saved me was my financial decision when I bought my first property. I had an awesome lender. They got me in a situation where I got so much equity and I was able to be laid off and not stressed. So just me having that safety net made me want to get into this industry. And I really want you guys to understand that this can be life changing. If you make the right decision, you have the right education. I didn't have this education like that, but what y'all are getting now, you're going to be able to navigate your home buying process like a boss. You're going to be able to look at the different programs, the different interest rates, having people like this who are going to assist you. And kind of like Pamela said, when she was doing her intro, I was like that. I did my first property. I did down payment assistance. I did the struggle way, and I had to, I couldn't get the pretty house that I wanted, but sometimes you just have to start. So starting is going to put you in a better predicament. So I would just say, get what you can on this call, make good decisions, and we're here to guide you every step of the way.
Ask questions. Please ask all the questions you can while you have us. Please utilize us.
And I know she says she is going to stop patting herself on the back, but any and every loan I can send to Ms. Huma Hussein, I do, and she closes every single one of them. So I will pat them on the back. I love, love, love Inspire Mortgage and Huma's team because they treat every single one of my loans like they are equal. So what do I mean by that? Someone who is buying a $150,000 home, they treat them just the same as my 500K clients. And that's really, really important to me because it may not seem like a lot, but it's a lot to you and it's a lot to me. Okay. And so I really like for all of them to be treated decent and appropriately and with dignity. And so that's what I love about that team. Let's go to my next folk, my next professional. Let's see. There we go. Attorney Brooks, are you with us?
Good evening, everyone. I'm here. Thank you so
Hello,
much,
hello.
ladies.
Tell the people who you are.
Hey, y'all. So I am Lashida Brooks. I am the founding attorney of Intentional Legacy Law Office. I'm also a 13-year veteran, and I'm so excited to be in these spaces. I started off in a criminal defense space where my biological father was sentenced to double life in prison. And my whole goal with becoming an attorney was to set him free. So after he served 30 years, I was able to get him out. And once I got him out, I was like, all right, criminal defense is over. So from there, while I was in the military, they would always talk about leveraging my VA home loan. And every time we went to another station, they'd be like, don't rent, don't buy. And then when I became a JAG in the military, when we would get deployed, they would just give us a will and power of attorney. And I'm like, okay, so for these people who have trust in different states, how are they protecting their homes, right? So then I started getting more into estate planning. Once I got restationed back at Great Lakes, I'm like, you know what? I'm done. This was great. Love it. But I really want to get out, start my law office, and help my people. So I created Intentional Legacy Law Office to help us build prosperity by leveraging paper. And when I say leveraging paper, I mean all things real estate, estate planning, your business succession, trademarks, and even money. Money is just a piece of paper, y'all. So just like how she shared, she used her equity for freedom. That's a piece of paper. Okay, all of these things are paper. So the way that I help us stay ready is making sure we be proactive, like Pamela mentioned, and get our affairs in order because all of these things are pieces of paper and we cannot let fear stop us from building our prosperity with a piece of paper, y'all. So one of the things that I always focus on is making sure everybody knows how to become the pillar of their family, right? And with estate planning, you want to think of three things. When you look at my logo, you'll notice it's like a pillar and it has those three things. The first one is your legacy, right? The second one is your if you become incapacitated, and the third one is death planning. People always talk about death planning, so I'll knock that one out first. Death planning is passing on your assets, right? What happens when you pass away? But before you pass away, you're alive, which is your legacy. What are you doing now to build your legacy? And while you're building, how are you protecting it? So let's say we're doing great buying real estate, right? Or you put it in an LLC, but you don't have the proper operating agreement, or you haven't laid out your shares, or you don't even have a business succession plan. So what happens if, going to the next step, you become incapacitated? How do you then preserve it so when you come back to your consciousness, everything is the way you left it? Instead, while you're sick, they was running through your money, or your business fell apart because nobody had power of attorney while you were incapacitated to still pay for things. So it's very important for you to create a full estate plan. And that's why I come in to make sure you don't just stop at one piece of paper, but you have a binder covering every aspect of your assets and protecting them all while you're alive, if you become sick, and once you pass away. And the way I like to think of it is, for all of us on the call, like the professionals on the call, we should be looked at as your bail team, like the people that bail you out. So like your banker, your accountant, your insurance agent, your lawyer. You should always have a bail team because we're going to bail you out and stuff. So you want to make sure you have all of those different aspects on your team. And the way I specifically help you with the homeowner journey outside of just protecting your home is when you first start investing or purchasing, I'm also a closing attorney. And not only am I a closing attorney, I've bought homes, sold homes. I am also a landlord and developer. As you can see, that's my baby. Y'all, that picture is a long time ago, okay? She is now 18 years old. Pray for me, y'all. Okay, she's 6 feet 18. Help me. But that was one of our first pieces of our homes we bought back in Florida together. And I've been teaching her along the way, just like you will for your children, because our goal is to also provide for our children's children, right? And that's why it's also important to have your attorney, because especially here in Cook County, a lot of times we do an amazing job getting these homes, but then we don't teach our kids, or they don't even want it sometimes, how to protect it. And we lose our homes to tax sales, foreclosures, all of those different things. And as an investor, I participate in some of those things. So I see it on both realms as the attorney and the person participating in them, right? So you also get all of those aspects with me as your closing attorney. And I make sure that we go through the beginning, all the way from that contract to the closing table to after the closing table, making sure you deciding whether you want to put your home in that trust, that LLC, or how you're going to set that up, making sure you're getting all your tax benefits. For example, I'm a 100% disabled veteran. I make sure I get my property tax on one of my buildings that I'm living in, right? So we make sure we do the holistic approach as your attorney, so that again, we leveraging those pieces of paper, because that $13,000 that I would have to give them in taxes, I now get to use that $13,000 that would be taxes on my building somewhere else. So it's important to make sure you're doing all of those things to protect your legacy and protect all of your assets for generations and generations.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Excuse me for having my camera off. I'm trying to run the presentation and everything, but I promise you I'm smiling from ear to ear, because everything that Attorney Brooks said is what we preach and teach to you guys, especially our VA borrowers if you're on this call. But in general, just making sure that you are safe, and just being prepared. And even some of this information you can take back to your family, and this could be one big like cycle of information. So yeah, love it. I love it. Thank you, Attorney Brooks. We appreciate you.
And you
Thank
guys
you.
don't like really utilize what you're hearing on this call, because y'all have no idea when I'm bumping into borrowers and I get into underwriting and now they're asking about a property that they're on title. Why did you do that? You didn't have to do that. A lot of people think, oh, if I pass away, I'm going to put this title in my daughter's name and it's going to be okay. That's not the proper way to go. So please, please utilize all this information on this call again. I appreciate you, counsel, for all that information too. It's very important because it wasn't taught in the household. It wasn't taught in my household at all. My household was, if you live here, you got to go to church. So they weren't talking about deeds and, education and all that stuff. It was God, 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 which I love Jesus, of course, but that information. So again, this is the big reason why we put this call together.
Yes. And that's also why we mentioned also in the beginning, faith with action. So all of that is coupled together. So thank you, ladies. We have our next professional, Miss Renee Cross.
Hello, y'all. I'm too fighting a cold, so y'all bear with me. The voice is a little nasally. That's okay. Well, let me just introduce myself. My name is Renee Cross. I am an enrolled agent and a tax professional. What that means is I'm federally licensed to not only prepare taxes, but also to represent taxpayers before the IRS. In short, it's like, this is how I like to describe it. If a CPA and an attorney had a baby, that's what an EA would be. So my role tonight is I want to help you understand how your taxes connect directly to home ownership. It's not just filing a return, but it's positioning yourself financially so you're truly ready when the opportunity comes, right? For my present and I do free consultations. So if you have issues with your taxes, give me a call. I have a heart to help, so I give, advice, counsel. My mantra is get ready so you don't stay ready so you don't have to get ready. I run an audit proof company, which means I'm big on documentation. I'm big on having everything planning, tax planning. So my W-2 taxpayers, file your taxes. Pretty simple. Self-employed, and you're trying to qualify for a home, let's be strategic in writing off our expenses. We want to write off our ordinary and necessary expenses, but we want to be strategic because we want to show that we can afford the property that we are trying to acquire. So I'm here for the Q&A, right? Because taxes are so broad and everybody has a different situation. But I'm here for the Q&A if you have any questions surrounding your taxes, because that's probably one of the first documents the lenders wants to see, right? They want to see your 2 years of taxes. So that's what I do.
And she's very, very good at what she does. Renee and I grew up together. We ran into each other the year before last. So I said, let me give Renee a chance because I'm getting people's taxes and I can't qualify you because you done wrote everything off. Let me connect you with Renee. She gets them together. So she definitely knows what she's doing. I'm not going to say I was trying to commit any type of fraud or something like that, but I might have had some questions and related, nah, I don't do that. I'm not doing that. This is my license, so we can't do that. And it was just a question, but she checked me really quick. So again, like Pam said, everybody on this call, we pretty much, have utilized. I just had to put my 2 cents in there.
Come on. I love it. Thank you, Miss Renee. Like how I said, I need to go see her myself before them folks come a knocking. I do see the questions in the chat. I will get to those in a second. 2 very, very great questions. I just have 2 more people I want to introduce you guys to. Actually, one more. I don't think I saw the second person. So we'll get to my preferred insurance agent.
What's up? What's up?
How you doing?
Man, I'm good. I'm glad to be here to educate you all. I'm excited about you all's goals and what you all going to accomplish in 2026.
Beautiful. Can you tell them a little bit how you got started and how do you assist them in the home buying process? And Don't hold back because he trying to be real demure right now. This guy pours into everybody that he meets. So go ahead, give him your spiel.
Before I was an insurance agent in 2018, I was a broke college student at Northern Illinois University. The reason why I got into insurance, I was following my father's footsteps. He's a an insurance agent with another company. He's been doing it about since 2008, right after the crash. So that's how I got into it. But what I realized is the power that I have to help you all out with home ownership. Number one, um, by the time you talk to me, you've already saved your money, put it in a mattress, you put it in the freezer, you talk to Huma. She didn't say, well, when is money coming from? Where is money going out? She asked y'all questions. You done drove across the city of Chicago or the burbs with Pamela to find a house just for you and your family. The inspection, you got your attorney, you can probably talk to your tax person already a year prior. But when you talk to me, my job is to properly educate you so that so when something goes wrong, I'm knocking on your door with a check. Now, if you can comment in the chat who has had experience or know somebody that experienced a claim where it wasn't properly insured. You can raise your hand, put one. If you have a yes, put two if you say no. Um, you can take a couple of seconds before you say everybody can reply to that. But yeah, for homeowners insurance or auto, it doesn't even matter. Hold on.
Well, I know I have. I know some of them is kind of hard for them to
Okay.
come off mute, etc. But I know I certainly have. So yes.
Okay. So when it comes to homeowners insurance, the number one thing is liability coverage. So if you have that housewarming and your cousin slips on a banana, did you know that that person can legally sue you? And some of us do have a cousin that we know will sue us if they could. Everybody got somebody like that in their family, but we have the coverage for that, so that protects you for your that pays for your attorney fees, court fees, and if you have to miss a couple days of work, we have a coverage for that. The number one claim that every insurance company gets when it comes to homeowners insurance is wind and hail damage to the roof. So make sure you get a good roof. If you don't, make sure you get some credits for it because that's the number one claim that we get when the wind starts blowing. And we live in a windy city, you might get some wind damage. We don't get hail that often, but you might get hail damage. So the roof damage is the number one claim that we get when it comes to homeowners insurance. So when you're looking at the house, make sure you ask questions. Well, I already know Pamela is going to already ask for you, but the roof is very important. The number two claim that we get calls on is water in the basement. Now, I don't know if you heard in the city of Chicago, I think it was the summer before last, we got a lot of rain, and people got on the west side of Chicago got rain in their basement because the city had cut off their floodgates. So what happens is when that happens is all that water kicks back into the streets and sometimes in your basement. Got to make sure you get that coverage. But when you talk to me, I'm going to ask you, have you ever been a victim of having water in your basement and your personal property destroyed? And I'm pretty sure if you haven't experienced it, you know somebody that has. The number third reason claims that we get when it comes to homeowners insurance is a fire, which is rare. So number two is the roof. Number one is the roof, and number two is water in your basement. Now, also a lot of people ask me, okay, Kirk, what's the bottom line? How much does it cost? So it varies. It depends on the zip code, the kind of house you're getting. Is it a single family home? Is it a multi-unit? Is it brick? Is it frame? Are you bundling it with your home and auto? Which I'll religiously ask you, hey, do you want to bundle? What's the make and model of your car to see if we can bundle your home and auto together? Because it has to make sense. If it doesn't make sense, that's okay. But bundling it with your home and auto, I'm pretty sure everybody's seen the insurance commercials out there that when you bundle your property, your home and auto insurance together, to get your best rates. But my job during the journey is just to give you the extra push that you need and to make sure if something goes wrong, you're probably protected.
But
Flood
thank
zones
you. I
too.
appreciate it.
I've been getting some flood zone questions, I guess. Properties have been in flood zone. I know though
Okay.
when you're in flood zone, like I know that premium could be very, very high.
Yeah, so what she's talking about is the state does a study of where certain areas flood more than others. And if you're on a flood zone, which means more than likely it's going to flood when it rains, you need to get what's called flood insurance. Now that's different than sump pump and sewage backup coverage. Sump pump and sewage backup coverage is like your water coming from the underneath your house in. Flood insurance is when it's coming from the outside in. So coming from your windows or through the door. Those are like it's like a flood. So when you have to have that, we do have some options. I have an option where it's been pretty cheap, but when you're in a flood zone, that does add some premium to your insurance and your mortgage as well, which someone will be able to educate you on. But the ways, we'll talk about the option. But yes, when you're in a flood zone, you do need what's called flood insurance. You'll need homeowners insurance and flood insurance because the bank is not going to let you close on a loan until they know that the property is properly protected because they're investing in you.
Nice. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so at this time, I think this is a great time to go ahead and just let them loose because the chat is being lit up right now with so many questions. So we'll let you guys have this opportunity to ask whatever questions you have. I will start with the ones in the chat. Miss Regina asks, are there any specific grants for first-time buyers? Huma or Rudy, if you want to take that one.
So a lot of these programs out here, you really don't have to be a first timer. That's really kind of rare. So again, like I said earlier, Trump, y'all boy is taking these programs away. So these lenders are following suit. There's other programs out here specifically for different areas, some of the suburbs. I know Indiana has some. My conventional grants has gone bye-bye. I'm hoping that, these lenders come up with something else. For now, what they're doing is like if you want a conventional loan, and as long as you're going to live in that property, your minimum down payment could be 3%. So they are trying to make it, where it's still doable for a first timer. But again, what's out here, you don't have to be a first timer. So Regina, we will have to really kind of search out there just to see what's out there. Now, FHA, I have it. And I know Regina, I know she's looking for a condo right now. So a lot of times we really don't want to go FHA trying to buy a condo because a lot of these condos are not FHA approved. And Regina's really not a FHA buyer. She's really a conventional buyer. So I had the grant for her when I first gave her pre-approval and now it's gone. So we got to try to figure something else, out. But again, to answer your question, a lot of these programs that are out here, you don't have to be a first timer, and some of them you do have to be a first timer. So some of them might give you, I see the other question as far as percentages. Some of them might give you a certain percentage. The one that we just had, it was called the 1% down program. The 1% down program is a conventional program, and basically your minimum down payment was 3%. The lender was covering 2% of that purchase price up to $7,000. So they just required the consumer to come with 1% of the down payment to the table. And that's not including your closing costs. But I'm hoping, again, this is the new year. I'm hoping some of these lenders are going to come out with something specifically, made for these conventional loans.
Yeah.
Oh.
So something I want to add to is a lot of you guys jumping in the chat about DPAs. We'll get to a couple more of those as well. But something I want you guys to understand is the difference between a grant and down payment assistance. So a lot of times people will say that they receive down payment assistance from their lender, but their lender didn't adequately explain that they were paying that money back through their mortgage. And so that's why sometimes Huma and her team will say, hey, we may not want to give you this DPA because actually it's costing you more than it's giving you, right? Because a grant is different. And then another thing that I want you guys to note and write down is the difference between the two seasons, the two buying seasons. So in the wintertime, you have less competition and you have more leverage in the negotiations with your particular realtor. In the spring and the summertime, more inventory comes to the market, but for the most part, you have less negotiating power. So why did I mention that? Because we are in January right now, and so if you're ready right now and you're trying to purchase something, if you're an FHA buyer, you can get up to 6% from the seller. So if you stop thinking about it as, I need DPA, I need DPA, I need all of the DPA in the world, the down payment assistance in the world, but more so, what is my cash to close? Because we can get your cash to close down to little to nothing based off of the different negotiations when we pair the free money, the actual free money, with also what the seller can give us in those negotiations. FHA can get up to 6%. A veteran can get up to 4%. A conventional loan can get up to 3%. You can get more with a conventional loan if you're putting more down. So I just want you guys to note those. Let's see. Next question in the chat. I'm scrolling up. One person asked, can you explain the process to,
Homestead
I think it was
exemption.
a homeowner's exemption question.
Yep,
Let me try to
homestead.
find it.
So
I don't know if
it's
Attorney Brooke, I feel like,
I see it. I can answer that. So
okay.
in Cook County, I'm thinking Will County also, they want you to live in the home. That has to be your primary residence, right? And they want you to live in the home a full calendar year, meaning from January to December. So if you close in November, let's just say you close in November of 2025, you won't be eligible in 2027, right? And you get a homeowner's exemption. So basically for you, they give us credit because we have home ownership. So they're going to give you a tax break. That's what a homestead exemption is. And it's a homeowner's exemption. You have a homeowner's exemption. If you're 65 or older, you could get a senior exemption. There's even a senior freeze out there, but the senior freeze is like, you got to be broke, I think. Like you can't make any type of income. Um, and even like Council Brooks, she's a VA. She already said that she's, disconnected more than 70%. So she ain't got to pay no property taxes at all. In the name of Jesus, God bless you. So if any VAs are out there, just make sure that you guys, know this information. Did that answer your question, Miss Martin?
Yes, ma'am. And
And how do you,
I do have one more question for that. Is this something that you would have to apply for yearly, or is it a one-time thing?
So yeah, it's a one-time thing. The homeowner's exemption is definitely a one-time thing where when it is your turn, when it is, your turn, you just go onto the assessor site, the county assessor site, and you should be able to do everything online. Um, they always want to see like some type of utility bill to make sure that you have a utility bill in your name so they know that you are, actually living there. And of course, they're going to ask for, some type of identification to match that address also.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Attorney Brooks, you could go ahead and jump in.
Yes, and I want to add for the military and the veterans, if you under 70%, so if you're not like final and permanent, sometimes they make you do it yearly. If you're 100% total and permanent, they do not make you do it yearly. And then when you're doing the active duty exemptions, they will make you do it as your contract expires. And you apply for those exemptions the same way you go and apply for the home exemption, and you can apply for both. And if you have 100%, although you don't have to pay property taxes, I will highly advise you to still dispute your property taxes every year in consideration of your neighbors. So although I don't pay property taxes, I still dispute my taxes when they raise them up, especially like what they just did now. Out of consideration for my neighbors. So even if you do get 100% veterans or the active duty, all y'all still dispute your property taxes, even though you're not paying them. It affects your neighbors. So remember that too.
I love you for that, for real. That's real. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. I think you answered this one. How much funding do the grants typically provide? And is it a fixed amount or percentage of the purchase price?
Yeah, I kind of did
I
answer
think
it.
you
It
touched on
varies. Each one, yeah, each one is different. It matters, what it is. I kind of gave an example already that the lender had that 1% down program.
Can
now. I want to give
question?
you guys. Oh, who? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Can you qualify for more than one grant? Can I get 5 grants to help me with closing costs and down payment assistance and all monies going towards this house, so I pay less out of pocket and my mortgage is less going forward?
So
This
a grant and down payment assistance. So a grant is normally forgiven at the table.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
You have to pay.
And we have what we call bonds. And what that means is if that certain grant or that certain DPA down payment assistance has its own interest rate, you can't pair it with another bond that has an interest rate, right? So that varies also. I have stacked in the past, but I don't really see a lot of that anymore.
Okay.
So for you to stack something with mine, it would have to be a true um I don't want to say neighborhood, but most of them like that have neighborhood grants where you'll get something from South Suburban Housing, or if Federal Housing, FHLB, Federal Home Loan Bank, if they have something, they have these DPAs where they sit with the HUD Council approved agencies like um oh my God, what's the name? South Suburban Housing. And I'm trying to think of the other, Chicago Urban League also. So they hold these
Mhm.
DPAs there, right? Those don't have their own interest rate. So if you got into something like that, then yes, you could pair it with something that I have. But most of those too that they hold are for first timers too. When those HUD approved agencies hold those types, normally it doesn't have, its own interest rate. So you can pair it with something else. It's
Okay.
real. Like when I first started originating, that's all I did, Miss Sanders. I was DPA giving everybody this, connecting them. They was calling me the stat queen. So I just don't see a lot of it. I don't see a lot of it, out here now. Again, the president, what he's doing, I feel like he feels like he's doing something by taking some things away, but then on the other hand, he's not, because he's trying to lower the interest rates. The interest rates have, lowered in the last year, but he's taking programs away, so it's hard.
Yeah. I want to throw in a tidbit. Unfortunately, Miss Sanders, this for my Chicago people, my Cook County residents. If you don't know, if you have never heard of the Cook County Land Bank, CCLB. So when you've heard of them, you've probably heard of the Cook County Land Bank for their distressed properties. Those are cool. Those are fine. Those are dandy. That's not the call that we're on today. We can talk about it, but those are for true blue investors that can put that house back together. You probably get a renovation loan and you're ready for those. That's not what I'm talking about. But there's also another phase to the Cook County Land Bank where investors, who I was just speaking of, will go in, renovate this property in full. And so now you have a fully renovated property. They have to get full plans and permits. And guess what the Cook County Land Bank gives? A $20,000 grant, up to $20,000 grant
Mm,
for you purchasing this Cook County Land Bank fully renovated property that somebody else took the risk on, right? So that's what I really love about the Cook County Land Bank. So for instance, I had a buyer, and not only did he get the down payment assistance from the lender, he received the $20,000 from the Cook County Land Bank. And although the seller gave pushback saying, "Well, Cook County Land Bank is giving you $20,000. Don't worry about it, sweetheart, because that wasn't your money. Remember, I just
absolutely.
told you we can still get up to 6% if you're FHA, but most of the time, let me bring it more into reality. You'll probably get about 3% from any seller. So we also got another $5,000 from the seller. And then my favorite neighborhood organization, they had a true grant. They were given another $1,000. And so coupled together, he received $26,000 to purchase this property, and it was a fully renovated multi-unit that he purchased. So that's just some more examples of when we find these different things, we're able to layer them as mentioned, but you have to be ready. You have to be ready when they come, because everybody that was ready they were in queue already. They were ready to benefit from it. I see 2 insurance questions in the chat, Kirk. The first one, if you're still with us, it says, is it true that homeowners, this was Miss Sanders' question, unless you answered it. Is it true that homeowners insurance increases based on the claims filed in your area, even if you do not file a claim of insurance? And then we have one more insurance question as well.
To answer that question, yes, your insurance can go up every year. It could go down. Recently, everything has been going up annually, kind of, sort of, because people are filing more claims. But not everybody's, going up, but it can go up. That's why it's good to have a good relationship with your insurance agent. So you can call in. What I like to do is do annual reviews, which is to check in annually, see what documentations you might or discounts you might qualify for, or it might be a good time to bundle your home and auto together. We couldn't do it previous years. But yes, your rates can go up. But again, that's not the end all be all. Just call your insurance agent if you want to call me.
That. We have one more. They said USAA has her bundled. So do you get quotes from different companies to find the best bundle rate?
I do. I thought I mentioned this earlier, but I am a broker, which means that I can shop around. I have multiple companies right now. I have National General, which is an all-state company. I just got Travelers about a week or two ago. I have American Modern. I have Safeco, which is a Liberty Mutual company, and I'm gonna get some more so I can shop around for the best rate for you all.
Kirk gets all of my referrals because I know he is a broker just like me, so he does have options out there.
Thank you, Huma.
Yeah,
And it's crazy because Huma's one of my first referral partners. Like I told you, I was a broke college student. When I first got into the insurance industry, I was hustling and bustling, and Huma was the one that gave me my first try. So, it's real family oriented in here, like they were mentioning earlier.
Yeah.
I love it.
He must be
How
doing a
long?
good job because I'm still rocking with him, so he's doing good.
Come on, Kirk. Come on. I'm trying to get him over here to Inglewood. That's my neck of the woods.
Yeah, I might have to come over there.
Come on. All right, let's see. So it says, how long after purchasing my first property can I qualify for first-time buyer benefits again?
So the biggest thing with that, as long as it's going to be your primary residence, you got that low down payment. So it's kind of the same thing. What grant, I or DPA I'll be able to pair you with. So your people always say that, as far as what about the first timer thing? Like you ain't got to be a first timer, but your main goal is you're not putting, or your main incentive is you're not putting 20 to 25% down. You're living in the property, your down payment is going to be anywhere from that 3 to 5%. But again, a lot of these, programs that are out here, you don't really have to be a first timer.
Yeah. And if you ever do come across it, you're considered not a first-time home buyer after, I believe it's 3 years.
And you cannot have
Is it Huma?
owned. So it is you, and that means you can't have owned in the last 3 years. It's not you purchased and now 3 years have passed. No, you cannot own anything in the last 3 years.
So I wouldn't qualify for first-time buyers because I don't plan on selling my house.
If it's a first time home buyer DPA or grant, you would not.
Okay.
But see, Ms. Sanders, your specific situation, and we could talk about it when you go for your second property, now, and do you plan to live in it? Because
Yes,
that's
I
different.
do. Yeah.
Okay, so cool. So living in that property, they want to help you, like the system itself wants to help you if you are living in it. That's called your principal residence, or if you're an owner occupant. So your second property, I believe is it 5% down, Homa, on your second one, or is it 10?
That's what my lender told me. My lender told me 5.
Yeah.
And you're going conventionally, I assume. I've gotten deals done at 3% down as long as it's going to be your primary residence.
Yes.
The system got to like you. I put it like that. The system
Good.
has to like you. As long as their credit score is good, you could get back with 3% down, definitely on a conventional loan. Again, as long as it's going to be your primary residence.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now, if it's not your primary residence, for everyone else on the call to bring you into the conversation, they want you to put 20% down because they're not trying to help you make more money because now you're going into investor land. But then that's where you come and holler at me and Huma because we have helped people buy their second property. And I'm going to snip this out of the recording. We have helped folks buy their second property with lower than that 20% down, and it's a trick to the trade, but I can't say it on the recording. That's to that one. I
I don't
believe
know what she's talking about.
she don't know what we talking about. I'm gonna blink my eyes and click my heels. Christine, hop back on. So Christine is one of my buyers, VA buyers that is currently in the process of purchasing. So right now she's kind of feeling it, and so her question was going about finding the right insurance. What I would say is talk to Kirk if you haven't already solidified who that insurance agent will be for you, because as they mentioned, a broker can see a bunch of different rates, whereas if you go straight to a State Farm, straight to specifically one of those particular agencies, they'll only give you what they have. So Christine, that's for you. Let's see. Miss Renee, we have somebody that asks how can they get in contact with you? And then I also have a question for my self-employed folks on the call as well.
Okay. I put my flyer in the text here, but I can be reached at 838. No, I'm sorry. 838-3250 or 708-95301. But my flyer
One
is
second, let me mute the person so you could say it again.
okay. I put my flyer in the chat. I can be reached at area code 872-838-3250 or 708-953-9301. I'm also,
Cool
you can
beans.
Facebook with me, DTA Financial Services Unlimited. If you go to my Facebook page, I'll put a link here in the chat, and you can book free consults there as well. But call me, text me. I'm here to help.
Now, I
I
have a
see it.
question for my self-employed individuals on the call. I know it's a little different. So can you explain how you assist those particular individuals when they've been taught, hey, write everything off, but dun dun dun, now they want to purchase. So what does that look like in your work?
So when clients come to me and they're self-employed, I ask every client what their goals are, especially my new clients. And if their goal is to purchase a home or, business related, we create a game plan pertaining to their goal, right? So if you're self-employed and you want to buy within the next 12 months, I look at the financial plan, right? And we're strategic about what we write off. We want to write off. We can't just eliminate and say we ain't writing off nothing just to show the bank that we have more income, right? That's fraud, right? So we have to be strategic about how we write things. We have to, if we're self-employed, we have to have some expenses, right? But we don't have to write off everything. So, like, say for instance, you have that home office. You don't have to write off that home office. You don't have to write off your cell phone bill and all of the things, right? So we're just strategic about what we can write off. We want to show the bank or the lender our true expenses related to our business. If you're trying to buy a home, and then people come to me, they're already in their property, so of course their main goal is to lower their tax liability. So in those cases, yeah, we're going to write off everything to lower their tax liability. So it just depends on what the goal is.
So now, Miss Renee, I was with a client today and he's been an avid flipper, but now he's like, hey, I need some rental income. Why would that for just for their sake, um, what would that help him do with him adding rental income? He's trying to lower his tax burden, I'm
He's
assuming.
trying to lower his tax. Well, if he's already got the property and his goal is not really to, qualify, and he's just trying to lower his tax liability, then we're going to scrub those bank accounts. I'm going to show him how to separate his expenses so that it'll be easy. And we're going to get him all of the deductions he can and lower that tax liability, because rental property has a lot of expenses associated with it, and people often miss expenses that they can claim in relation to rental property. They have a lot of overhead.
Nice, nice. Thank you. All right. Let's see. Oh my God, there's so many questions. I'm loving this. Sometimes we'll do these calls and we'll be like, please, please ask a question. Um, can a grant cover the down payment and or closing costs? Did we answer that one already? Homa?
I think we kind of did. Closing costs are separate. Um, there's two components, your down payment and then your closing costs. If you have enough money, like Miss Sanders was asking, can we double up? If you have enough money, yeah, it could go and cover some of those closing costs also. But normally Pamela comes back with closing costs from, the seller the seller normally will assist with your closing costs. In Cook County, your closing costs could be anywhere from 3 to 4%. And I always will inflate the numbers. So it matters, what DPA or whatever's out there. If you have enough left, absolutely you could go towards your closing costs. But it is really called DPA for the down payment.
Yeah.
But it can be done. I've seen it done.
We, for the most part, get money from the seller. The seller is not going to tell me no unless we already hit them over the head and we're getting a phenomenal deal up front already. Meaning, like for instance, one of my clients earlier this year, the seller built us a garage. So, that's a $30,000 brand new garage. How dare I, ask for another $5,000, even though that person did get $10,000 from the seller. But it just depends on the deal, So it just depends. It says what type of insurance is needed to purchase a small plot of land in a commercial area. Kirk.
Okay, hold on, let me get this. That person. So yeah, you'll just purchase vacant land insurance, which is fairly cheap. And basically all that does is protect you just in case some kids after school you got to plan on your land and they got hurt, they can legally sue you because you're technically responsible for anything that happens on your land or your property. So yes, you can get insurance on a plot of land that you plan on purchasing and developing on.
Cool. Thank you. Do you all have experience with creative financing or sub-2 deals?
Yes, I do non-QM loans, fix and flip, hard money loans, basically. I do those loans. But the sub-2s, like I've never done one, and I think those are more like if you're trying to take over an existing mortgage. So if that's the case, then whoever has that existing mortgage, you would probably more or less work with them. Because those terms, you're trying to keep those same terms. And I could do them if you're with one of my, lenders, but if you're not, then you would have to go to whoever that existing lender is, whoever, is servicing the loan. But yes, definitely, I definitely do non-QM loans, non-qualifying mortgage loans, which means it's not a FHA loan, it's not a conventional loan, it's the specialty program. So yes, very familiar with those.
Cool. Now, this is sort of a mixed crowd, which I do love. So we're kind of jumping to a lot of different topics, but a great one that I love when Huma talks about, and I would say give her a ring about it, is those DSCR loans, debt service coverage ratio loans. That's basically where I'll let Homa talk about it, but it's basically a really great loan for investors. And yeah.
Let me touch on those too. I kind of lost my train of thought when Renee was on there talking about you filing the taxes. A lot of my agents who purchase, of course, they write everything off, right? And of course, most of my agents have money. So to me, instead of um, paying Uncle Sam, I feel like you might want to do what we call a bank statement only loan. Those are for self-employed folks, right? So if you did write everything off and I don't see any money on those tax returns, bank statement only loan requires 12 months of bank statements. I want to basically see your business deposits going in there. The lender, you give 12 months, they give me, basically what they're going to see your monthly um, income as. The only thing is you're putting 10% down. But to me, putting 10% down, let's just say you're 30,000. I'd rather pay into myself than pay the IRS. DSCR, that's for investors only. Debt service cover ratio. That's what it stands for. And all you got to do is have some money, anywhere from 15 to 25% down. Of course, it matters what that credit profile looks like, but they don't care about your DTI. They don't care about your income. As long as that property, as long as the mortgage can cover, as long as the rents, I'm sorry, can cover the mortgage. That's all they care about. Best loan hopping out here. I've been knocking them out the box. So if y'all know of anybody, you have some investors, there are certain stipulations. Like you can't just come in and say, I don't own nothing. Now I want to invest. It don't work like that. They're not going to trust you. Lenders don't trust you like that. You have to at least, at the minimum, own your own primary residence before you even think about that. I've had a couple where I've done where they had management experience, right? Whether they managing properties, working for a management company, working for their parents or something like that, managing properties, and we could prove that they look at that as experience too. So I could get real creative. Together, I should say we could get real creative, but you got to have some type of ownership. You have to have your feet wet in some type of real estate, something before they allow you to do any program like that. Marlon Hunter, is this the Marlon that I know, Pam?
Yes,
This
I was
Marlon that
just
I
about to
know.
say. Yes, I was just
Marlon,
about to say Marlon could have texted us, but
yeah, Marlon is a perfect candidate for a DSCR because he has the experience. He done fixed and flipped, landlord, all that kind of stuff. So he would be the perfect candidate for DSCR because he has that experience.
Yes, it is Marlon. How you guys doing?
Hey,
I'm
Marlon just
sorry.
missed us. That's all.
I'm in New York now. And I'm thinking about jumping back in. So I saw this in my email and I was like, yeah, I definitely want to join and see what you ladies have, what you talking about.
thank you,
Yeah,
thank you.
thank
Yes,
you.
and Pam, yes, I do miss you.
I know
My-
you do. I know. So Marlon, actually a quick story for you. Harvard is the gift that keeps on giving. So to bring everybody into the conversation with Mr. Hunter, he is a an investor who has been with me from day one. I actually think he was my very, very, very first client. So God bless his ministry.
yes, the first one,
But
the first one.
but with him, he purchased a building that was renovated in the Chatham area about 80th and Harvard. And so last year, Huma and I had a client and we put that client on Mr. Hunter's property. They sold that one. Mr. Hunter got a pretty penny. And actually, this investor has a great amount of equity. And also, this regular 2 unit also had a garden unit in the basement. So, the top floor, my current client who bought it from Mr. Hunter, he was Airbnb out this unit. He was making $3,000 off of this one unit. He also on the first floor has a CHA tenant that he inherited from Mr. Hunter, $1,400, and he has another subsidy in the basement, a non-traditional subsidy that's different from Section 8, a little bit easier. And that was in that basement. And this guy was making over $5,000 on this one property. So to answer Marlon's question, is Chicago still good for investing? Yes, but it just depends on, what strategy. But for me, these multi-units is the best way to go because everybody is looking for a multi-unit. So if we jump into doing some light flips on those, or if you just wanted to jump into getting another multi-unit building, that's the best way right now for me that I'm seeing. Let's see. Whom already replied to the homeowners exemption person.
They're asking about on that statement only loan. Yes, the interest rate is definitely going to be higher than the regular market rate. Again, these interest rates are really credit profile driven. What does that credit look like? Is your score up there? You're going to always get a better interest rate. Typically on these non-QM products, you're about a point, sometimes a point and a half above regular market rate. They feel like they're taking a risk. You got to think about lenders, right? They're taking a risk. So that's why they have a bigger down payment for you. You're self-employed. Your business could flop at any time, right? That's why normally on, FHA and Fannie and all that, they require 2 years of tax returns. They want to get a 2-year average. How is your business going? So these statement only loans, even the DSCRs, like because they're not looking at a lot of things, definitely the lender is trying to collect as much up front as possible, just in case you're not able to pay anymore. So yes, typically a point to a point and a half, of the regular market rate.
It's yeah.
And so
It's a
I see
lot.
this other one, Miss Wooten is asking about the DSCR program. Do you have to own right out? No, you don't. You could still have a mortgage. It's just they want you to own something, right? They really want you to have a primary residence, at least a primary residence. But yes, it doesn't have to be free and clear or anything like that.
Nice. Thank you. I want to actually bring my attorney back on. I feel like we have only a couple more minutes and I just want to be respectful of everybody's time. Can Attorney Brooks, can you come back on for us?
I'm back.
All right. I want to kind of get you in there and ask some of those questions of how do you assist people in that home buying process? But then also, we did explain to people that estate planning process as well. If you could give them some tidbits about that, and just anything else that you could answer in the little bit of time we have left.
And
Yes.
please touch on TODs too.
Yes. Okay. So starting with the home buying. So in the beginning, as you know, you start off with your realtor, you get the contract, you get accepted, boom. When you get the inspection, during that period, I have 5 days. I can always ask for an extension. And I'm gonna go with you, your realtor, and your inspector to really iron out what you should decide to do. Just because something may be wrong doesn't mean you shouldn't buy it. So we really make sure that you're looking at what's behind the walls and we come up with a good estimate on how we should negotiate. When we look at that, we don't only look at repairs. I also make sure I search like the codes, especially in Cook County. I'm gonna do a Cook County court search. So I'm gonna look up and see if they have any administrative hearings, any fines, any code violations. I make sure that however they got it legally like certified, we checking all of those things out. So when I'm helping you, I'm going through all of those parts of that attorney review, as well as you hear everybody talk about the title search. I like to tell my clients to think about it like your credit report. So you know how your social security number got a credit report, boom. Every house got a PIN number. That PIN number, that title commitment is basically like the credit report. So I also iron through that to make sure there's no ownership history, there's no liens, there's no any encroachments. Make sure they covering stuff if it is. If they not, we negotiate that in advance and just really iron out what that survey look like so you know what you own, right? So that's the full encompassing of going through the attorney review period. And if you walk away, you walk away, right? So I make sure I'm there with you that whole process. And once you get towards the closing table, I do go to closing tables. I know some people don't, but I do. Not only do I go to closing tables for my buyers, I walk you through all of your packages, even your lender documents. I explain to you how the amortization schedule works. I help you determine how much you should pay to make sure you're not doing 30 years and you're doing 15 instead, right? So I really go through all of that at the closing table, and we talk about specifically what tax exemptions or something like that should apply to you. So that is the first portion for the home, like ownership. And then for estate planning, there's different ways. What she was specifically talking about is the TODI, so the transfer on death instrument. That's something that, especially for my older clients, that is more convenient, especially for them to use and us to do that instead of going through a full trust building session. But for my younger clients, especially for my investors, I always recommend a revocable living trust. And I talk about that. But if you get in money and you like maybe over 4.4 million in Illinois, I'm likely going to recommend an irrevocable living trust, and we'll talk about why. But the main reason why is about that protection of death planning and how you don't want your heirs to have to pay all those taxes. So we will talk about that because there's many different trusts, especially if you got like special needs, any kids with autism, if they receiving government benefits. Even if you're a veteran, we got Veteran Asset Protection Trust. So when I am working with you, it's really not a cookie cutter estate plan. I make sure that I'm intentional with it providing what you want for your legacy and your protection, especially because you work so hard to build all of this. So it may look different for different people. So you may hear me tell an elderly person who already own their home, they just done, that's all they got. Let's just get you a TODI, get your power of attorney for property and your power of attorney for healthcare together, get you a living will and your TODI, and they good to go. Whereas a younger investor, you might hear me say, no, you need a revocable living trust, you need a pour-over will, you need XYZ. So it could look different for each person. It really just depend on your scenario and also how much your income bracket is, because then you got different, tax things to look at, which is a blessing. We look at those things as a blessing.
DOD, they don't know what that is.
TODI or DOD?
Transfer on death.
Death instrument, right. So that's when it's a document. It's pretty much look the same, but that's when you pass away. So it doesn't go into effect before you pass away or if you're incapacitated, which is different. A trust takes effect if you become incapacitated, and it starts once you're alive, right? The TODI only takes to effect when you pass away. And once you pass away, automatically, you do not have to go through probate court. That piece of property is then transferred over to whoever you assigned it to in that TODI. So it allows you to skip probate, which is highly, highly, highly always recommended. You do not want to go to probate. And a lot of people get wills, which is the last will and testament. Those still have to go through probate and still will cost your family a lot of money. So it's better to have a will than nothing, but it's better to have a TODI than just a will. But then it's ultimately better to have a trust. So it's levels to it, but it's better to have something than nothing. But it's will, TODI, trust. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does it make sense to everybody? Because it's big.
It's a lot of information that I try to not use legal. I don't want to use legal terms. I want to make sure that y'all picking up what I'm putting down, but I also don't want to prolong it. I want it to be short, concise, and clear so that you know to even inquire about it. So once you hear it, okay, do I need a TODI or do I need a trust? I need you to walk away knowing I need to protect my home. And that's the first question that you need to be asking yourself. How am I protecting my home? How am I protecting my business? How am I protecting my cars, my clothes, my assets? Like, how am I protecting these things?
We might need to have Attorney Brooks just do just an estate planning.
That's really, really one of my main reasons for absolutely bringing her on. One, she's a real estate attorney, and then at the real estate table, it doesn't stop there. She's going to educate you. How do you set this up? What's the best fit for your family?
Yes.
A lot of just real estate attorneys, they don't have that. They're not into estate planning. That's why she really, really, a good asset. Definitely. She don't know she finna be talking because we finna go to some places. We're gonna be live. We're gonna be live in front of people and all of that. Great information. And the color of her skin too. I'm just be honest with you, okay?
That's the one. I just can't show y'all how I look right now. But yes, that's the one.
Y'all play.
Yes.
Y'all play all day.
We appreciate you,
yes,
Black woman.
so much.
All right,
yes.
All right. It is 6:58. It's so many things that we could have touched on. We could have went. I had more about estate planning. We could talk to each and every one of these professionals literally for an hour long. But what I want for all of you to do is I want all of you to pay attention to your emails. After this, my assistant is going to send out this recording once it actually becomes ready to be sent out. We're going to send out the recording. We're going to send out these slides and we're going to send out everybody's contact information. I would like to see everybody on this call do a consultation with at least 1 to 2 people, if not everyone that's on the call, because you will be surprised what you can get from every single person. Even someone asks, can they speak to you about estate planning if they're not in Illinois, Miss Attorney Brooks?
Yes, you can. And I have a nice, like I mentioned before, being in the military got its perks. I have a nice amount of contacts throughout everywhere. I know estate plan attorneys in Maryland, Florida, Georgia. Like once I do the consult, I usually do a hand-to-hand transfer over.
Nice. Same also for like how, for instance, Miss Sanders, you're going to Texas. If you want to speak to Huma, so that we can be able to help assist you, and then even we can help you find a realtor down there that I even trust, so that we can be able to kind of do this, as Attorney Brooks mentioned, this hand-to-hand contact, so that you can be handled with integrity, decent and in order. So
Yeah,
that's
y'all, that's my auntie.
That's
So
my
Huma,
TT
I'm like,
back.
that's my auntie. So I'm gonna make sure she get directly to you.
Now
oh,
I have my lender my lender and my realtor who I work with to buy this house. My realtor actually moved to Houston a few years ago. So she's
nice.
down there. But I want to be able to collaborate with you both because you've
Yeah.
given me a lot of information and my niece trusts you, so I trust you.
Nice.
And because everybody doesn't know everything. So if I can work with both of you ladies, I absolutely want to.
Let's do it.
Okay,
Let's
Yes,
do it.
okay.
yes.
Thank you.
There's
Thank you,
one more
Auntie.
question. Wooten had one question. Can a person that's retired, so you're asking, can you use that supplemental income, Social Security, disability, and pension? Absolutely. That's income coming in. Yes, you definitely can use it.
Miss Katonia is one of my RAGE members. RAGE is the Resident Association of Greater Englewood. She's one of my RAGE members. So, Miss Katonia, I'll pair you. We could talk about your situation definitely tomorrow. So no worries on you. But as mentioned, all of you guys will get everybody's contact information, so no worries. Just check your emails, and we drop some of our social media handles in the chat. Make sure you follow us because we give this type of information regularly. We just tried to condense 8 folk into an hour and a half,
And
but
we
it was
did it.
well worth
Thank
it.
y'all for joining. We really appreciate you all, for real.
Yeah.
I
Thank you,
appreciate it.
everyone. All right. Well, I will give you guys your evening back. I will stay on for a couple of minutes if anybody wants to just still chat with anybody else that's on the call as well. So, but that is the end of this Stay Ready So You Could Get Ready webinar. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much. Thank you for impacting us. Great. Well, thank you.
All this melanin on this call. Oh,
Isn't it so beautiful?
oh,
As
oh,
it should
Beautiful. Yeah,
be.
oh,
that's what
my
I be
people.
talking about. Yes.
Yes, 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 yes. Us helping us is how us get ahead.
Yeah,
Because, like
absolutely.
you said, in your house,
Exactly.
you grew up with church, and we wasn't taught about financial
Finances.
responsibility, and
Nope.
doing and planning to be debt free.
Yeah.
That wasn't what, or
Hmm.
credit, let alone credit. Saving
For
some money. What do
real.
you mean saving some money? I'm gonna spend every dime I got. No, 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 no. So I thank you
We would
all.
have been, yes, we would have been on
Yeah.
here forever if we had added a credit person. But we really, we have some folks who we like and we trust, but we really stay away from the credit fixers because we don't like the the get rich quick schemes. We want you to know how to fix your credit because those things pop back up at the last minute, and you looking at us crazy,
Yeah.
and we looking at you because how can they give you 200 grand, 300 grand, and then $100 something pops back up, $1,000 collection pops back up at the last minute? So,
Yeah.
yeah, we
I
try to
understand.
steer clear of them folks. But if it's
Well, thank
anybody
you.
else, thank you, Auntie, for
Thank
coming
you.
on with us. We
Thank you. Thank you.
appreciate
Thank
you.
you. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of y'all night.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
too.
Au
Thank you.
revoir.
Miss Lizzie G, thank you for coming on.
Lizzie.
Right? I think that's everybody. Let me. All right.
Yeah, they kind of getting now.
Thank you, Attorney Brooks. Let me.
Thank you, girl, for jumping off for real. I appreciate you, babe. You getting all our business now. No worries.
Yes.
Yeah. Come
For
on.
real,
I
for
need to
real.
do something else with you. Let me stop this
Yeah.
recording.
Gonna get it
Yeah.
done, y'all. Enjoy the rest of y'all evening. Go get some sleep, please.
I know. I did all right though. I wasn't even coughing like that. Y'all, I've been
You
down
did
since
good.
Monday. I've been down